I am Ivan Michael C. Adjas of Batangas State University, Bachelor of Science Information Technology. So today we are in NetAcad, and I'll be on NetAcad CCNA 1, Routing and Switching. So today I'll be answering the activities in final chapter, in chapter 11, which is entitled Build a Small Network. So there are 4 activities in chapter 11. The first one in page 11.2.1.4, second page 11.2.2.5, third in page 11.3.4.5, and the last one in page 11.4.1.4. So let us first answer the first activity, which is entitled Security Threats and Vulnerabilities. So the instruction is read the security threats and vulnerability scenario. Drag each scenario to its corresponding type security threat. So there are 2 figures. Here's the part 2. So part 1. So let's answer first the part 1. So we're going to categorize this and choose from the 4 choices: information theft, identity theft, data loss or manipulation, and the disruption of service. So basically we're gonna categorize it in security threats. So let's read the first one. Sending a virus to reformat a hard drive. So sending a virus to format a hard drive is a thing. To reformat, which means to delete all the data inside the hard drive. So definitely to say data loss manipulation. So altering data records is altering it. I think it's making some changes in records. So we definitely say manipulation of data. Preventing legal users from accessing data services. So data services. So disruption of service. Disruption. It is preventing the legal. So we are not allowing the legal user to access the services. So it is definitely disruption of services. Stealing scientific research reports. So stealing, it's like when we steal some scientific research, we steal informations, we steal what they have discovered. So it's information theft. Stealing a company's user database. So stealing a company's user database. I think let's try to answer. I think it's stealing. So the database will steal the company's user database. In the database, they are full of informations. So it is in information theft. Overloading a network to keep users out. So to keep users out, we disrupt again the other users from using the service of the system. So these 2 definitely in identity theft. So making illegal online purchases when we use other person, we steal their identities and make purchases using their names. Impersonating someone to obtain credit. Just like we impersonate them, we try to be like them to obtain credit. So it is identity theft. So the second figure, read the security management practices. Drag each management practice to appropriate security management. So we're gonna categorize it from hardware, environmental, electrical, and maintenance. So let's try to answer this. The first one is label critical cables and components. So I think it's in maintenance. So if there are problems in our hardware, it is easy for us to know where the problem is if we label the cables and different components, so we know that this is the cable for this component, just like that. Control temperature and humidity. So it is in the environment. So we must control the temperature and humidity to prolong the life of the components, so it will not break. So the next one is control access to console ports. So I think it's in the maintenance. So for us to easily access the console ports, use security cameras is in hardware. So I think this one is in hardware because when other person tries to steal different components, because components of networking is really expensive, so there are people who will try to steal it. By using security cameras, we think we lessen the chance for other people to steal the components. Create positive airflow. Airflow is in the environment, so that airflow for the components to not overheat. Let's see. Install redundant power supply. So power supply is electrical. Install UPS system. So a UPS system is when there is a sudden electrical outage. The UPS, it has stored power in it, so that when the electricity suddenly shuts down, we still have 5 to 10 minutes to shut everything off properly so that it will not break. So the last one is the lock up devices in hardware, so that prevent unauthorized access, so that they will not have the chance to steal the components. So I have exited it. So I'll drag it again. Use security cameras, control access ports, install UPS, create positive airflow, label critical components, control humidity, install redundant device. So let's check. You have successfully matched its security practice to its security management. So we have answered that activity. Let's proceed to the next one. So it is in page 11.2.2.5, types of attack. Determine the types of security attacks and describe each security attack type, its scenario. So we're just going to drag the attack and you add to its appropriate scenario. So the first scenario is a computer is used as a printer server for ACME The IT staff failed to supply security updates to this computer for over 60 days. Now the print server is operating slowly and sending a high amount of malicious packets in its NIC. So I think this is warm. I think it's a worm. Sharon, an IT intern in ACME Incorporated, noticed some strange packets while revising the security logs generated by Parwa. A handful of IP addresses in the internet were sending malformed packets to several different IP addresses at several different random port numbers inside ACME. So I think it's a reconnaissance. So let's check. Correct, you have successfully matched each security type to its scenario. Let's proceed to the second figure. Jeremiah was browsing the internet from his personal computer when a random website offered a free program to clean his system. After downloading the running executable, the operating system crashed. Crucial operating system related files had been corrupted, and Jeremiah's computer recorded full disk format and operating system reinstallation. So this is definitely a Trojan horse, because I think Trojan horse is just like in the no, I think it's a virus, because it attacked the operating system. It got confusing because Trojan horse, it looks like another application with this which we think is harmless, but when we install it, it suddenly creates something that will destroy our computer. Ariana found a flash drive laying in the pavement of a mall parking lot. She asked around but couldn't find the owner. She decided to keep it and plug into the laptop, only to find a photo folder. Feeling curious, Ariana opened a few photos before formatting the flash drive for her own use. Afterwards, Ariana noticed her laptop camera was active. So I think it's a Trojan horse, because it's a flash drive which we think it is something that's harmless that we can use, but suddenly after using it, there's a malfunction, or it creates something that is not intended. It's Trojan horse. So let's check. Correct, have successfully matched each security attack type to its scenario. So let's try the third figure. Angela, an IT staff member of the ACME Incorporated, notices that communication with company server is very slow. After investigating, she determines that the cause of the slow response is due to a computer on the internet sending a very large number of malformed web requests to ACME's web browser. So she can't access the server, it's very slow, so it's denial. I think it's denial of service, or DOS. Denial of service, so it denies us from accessing the service of the company's server. It slows it, so it's definitely denial of service. George needed to share a video with a co-worker. Because of a large size of the video file, he decided to run a simple FTP server on his workstation to serve the video file. His co-worker to make things easier, George created an account with a simple password file, provided it to his co-worker on Friday. Without proper security measures or a strong password, Edison wasn't surprised to learn the Monday that George's workspace had been compromised and he was trying to upload work-related documents to the internet. So it's access, because he did not use a proper and harder to guess password. The other hackers tried to had an access to his file and now uploading his documents to the internet. Let's check. We have successfully matched each security attack to its scenario, so we have answered that. Let's try another activity. So here, activity, show commands. So read the show command scenarios. Here are the show command scenarios. Drag each show command to the text field, text the appropriate scenario. So here are the show commands in these scenarios. Expect there is a problem in the current switch configuration, so that you can configuration you want to see the same configuration so that you can compare it to the currently running. So what's it? I think it is show startup config, so that he can compare the startup configuration and the saved configuration. You are on a call of the Cisco Technical Assistant personnel. They ask you to switch iOS name, RAM and VRAM flash drive. They also ask the hexadecimal boot location. So it is show version. You are running the EIGRP routing protocol and need to know the update intervals and the active interfaces and networks are advertised by our router. So it's in the router, so show IP route. You cannot get to the internet. You need to find out if your router has a path to the internet and which protocols are being used to provide the paths. So we need to see the protocols of the IP, so show IP protocols. Your network documentation really needs to be updated. A quick listing of the IP addresses on your routers in relation to their MAC address would help finish the task for recording purposes. So it's show ARP. A switch is the closest intermediate device to you. It has 24 ports. You want to see a simple listing of the ports being used, their status, and VLAN IP address. So it is show IP int brief. So because the closest device to us is the switch. So let's check. Correct, you have successfully matched each show command to its scenario. So we have answered that activity. Let's try the last activity. Here's the last activity. Order the troubleshooting steps. There are steps, and we're just going to order them. Drag each step to the field next to its appropriate description. So here are the description. Establish a theory of the probable causes. Establish a plan of action to resolve the problem and implement the solution. Document findings, actions and outcomes. Identify the problem. Test the theory to determine cause. Verify full system functionality and implement preventive measures. So definitely, if we need to troubleshoot, we must first identify what the problem is, because why would we troubleshoot if there are no problems and we don't know the problem? So This is the step 1. So step 2 is establish a theory of probable cause. Now that we know the problem, we're going to think of possible causes why this problem occurred. So this is step 2. So I think the step 3 is we're going to test our theory. Think test our theory to determine the cause. When we if we already have formed a theory, now we're going to determine if it is really the cause. So the next one is establish a plan to resolve the problem implementation. Now that we know the problem, we're going to think of a plan to how we can solve the problem. So then I think the next one is verify full system functionality and implement. Now that we have resolved the problem and implemented the solution, we are going to verify, we are going to really see if our solution is really a good solution. We have really solved the problem. So that we have now, and if we have now that we have found the solution to the problem and fix it, we're going to document findings, action, outcomes. This for documenting is for the future use. If the same thing ever happens again, it is now easier for us to solve the problem. So let's check. Correct, you have successfully matched each step to its description. So we have answered 4 activities in chapter 11. That's the last chapter. So that's all for this video, and thanks for watching.